Growing up in my neighborhood, I quickly became familiar to everyone. From a young age, people would greet me warmly as I passed by, offering smiles and kind words. It was a comforting feeling to be recognized and welcomed in a place where familiarity breeds connection and warmth. I always responded with genuine gratitude, reciprocating the respect and warmth that were extended to me. As a single woman, I have experienced 3 relationships in the past, none of which lasted. Each time, I held on to the hope that love would prevail, and that companionship would bring lasting joy. In the early stages, everything seemed perfect. Laughter filled the air, stories were exchanged, and dreams were crafted together. However, as the relationship progressed, the cracks began to show. We argued over minor differences, struggled to communicate effectively, and slowly drifted apart. It was heart-wrenching to realize that we had different visions for the future, leaving us stranded on diverging paths. Each breakup left a void in my heart, making me question if a true connection was even possible. Yet, I've come to understand that sometimes, staying single allows room for personal growth and introspection. Now, I embrace solitude as an opportunity for self-discovery. I have begun dedicating time to activities that bring me happiness, whether it's spending quality moments with friends and family, diving into new hobbies, or appreciating the simple joys of life. Instead of focusing solely on finding a partner, I have learned to find fulfillment within myself. Among my neighbors, Mr. Aid stands out as a truly remarkable figure. His presence is a source of comfort and inspiration for the entire community. At 70, he exudes warmth with his gentle smile, his eyes crinkling as he greets passersby. Every afternoon, he sits in his big, comfortable chair on the porch, watching the world go by. The children of the neighborhood adore him, often gathering around to listen to his captivating stories. Mr. Aid's life experiences are vast, spanning adventures of childhood exploration, moments of hardship, and countless moments of joy. His tales offer not only entertainment, but also wisdom that resonates deeply with those who hear him. When I pass by Mr. Aid's house, he always greets me with a wave and a kind smile, calling out, "Come over anytime, my dear. You're always welcome here." Those words feel like a warm embrace, a simple gesture that makes me feel a part of his family, of something greater than just a neighborly bond. It is his kindness that leaves a lasting impact, making me look forward to every brief encounter. Mr. Aid's wife, Mrs. Aid, shares the same gentle spirit. Though she isn't around as often, visiting their grandchildren in another town, her presence is deeply felt whenever she returns. Her sweet demeanor and loving nature leave a lasting impression on everyone she meets. She embodies the essence of a nurturing matriarch, always checking in on neighbors, offering warm smiles, and making everyone feel cared for. Whether it's a small gesture of offering a kind word or a simple gesture of encouragement, Mrs. Aid adds another layer of compassion to their home. One sunny afternoon, as I walked past Mr. Aid's porch, he invited me in for snacks and juice. His invitation was heartfelt, and as I sat in his cozy living room, I felt an immediate sense of belonging. The room was filled with the comforting aroma of fresh tea, and the warmth of the surroundings matched the warmth of his hospitality. Mr. Aid's stories, filled with vivid descriptions of his youth and adventures, transported me to a different era, a simpler, more joyful time. Each word he spoke painted a vivid picture of life without the distractions of modern technology, an experience that felt both nostalgic and inspiring. His tales were not just about his past, but also about the lessons embedded within them. We discussed how children today experience life differently, often relying on screens and gadgets for entertainment. Mr. Aid chuckled, reflecting on the simplicity of his childhood, where every day was an opportunity for exploration and discovery. It made me wonder if modern life truly offers the same sense of adventure and genuine connection. Through Mr. Aid's stories, I've come to appreciate the value of a meaningful connection, one built on kindness, understanding, and shared wisdom. His presence serves as a gentle reminder that even in moments of solitude, there are stories and memories waiting to be created, ones that will leave lasting impressions in our hearts. I paused for a moment, reflecting deeply. Perhaps in different ways. Mr. Aid, I said softly, we have our moments of joy, but your games seem just as thrilling. He nodded gently, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. That's true, he agreed thoughtfully. Each generation finds its own pleasures. As we continued, he leaned forward slightly and spoke with a calm, deliberate tone. But remember, no matter how life evolves around you, the most important thing is to always be kind and respectful. His words resonated within me, touching a part of my heart that was often overlooked in the busyness of everyday life. In that moment, I felt like I was uncovering more than just the surface of who Mr. Aid was. I was learning about life, its complexities, and the depth of human connection. Our conversation flowed seamlessly from one topic to another: my studies, his memories of younger days, and the friends I held dear. He listened intently, his eyes sparkling with genuine interest. There was an ease to his presence, a quiet wisdom that encouraged me to share more openly. Every so often, he would nod with understanding or chuckle at a particularly funny story. It was comforting, knowing someone could truly hear you without the distractions of the outside world. At one point, the mood shifted. After a brief pause, Mr. Aid looked at me with thoughtful eyes and asked, "So, my dear, why aren't you married yet?" The question caught me off guard. Yet his expression was warm and compassionate. I smiled softly, knowing he wasn't being judgmental but rather curious. So, I began to share my story. "Well, Mr. Aid," I began slowly, "I've been in 3 different relationships. First, they all seemed so special, like I had finally found what I was searching for. Everything felt perfect, full of laughter, dreams of a future together. But as time passed, little misunderstandings grew into more significant struggles, and what once felt like a deep connection slowly faded." My voice faltered slightly as I recounted those moments, the emotions lingering beneath the surface. Each time, it left me questioning what went wrong. By the time I reached the 3rd relationship, I decided maybe staying single for now was better. It felt safer, more peaceful. Mr. Aid listened attentively, nodding occasionally. His gaze never wavered as he absorbed every word. "You're still young," he said with a reassuring smile, "and life has a way of surprising you. The right person always finds a way to show up when we least expect it." His gentle words eased my mind. He wasn't rushing or offering solutions, but rather reminding me that there is no rush to find happiness. That moment, I felt lighter, more at peace with my decision. Being single didn't feel like a limitation. It felt like an opportunity to reflect and understand who I truly was. As our conversation continued, the atmosphere grew deeper. Mr. Aid leaned in slightly, his voice lowering into a thoughtful whisper. He began to share something deeply personal. "You know," he said, "even though I've lived many years, I still have feelings and needs like anyone else. But lately, things with my wife have changed. We don't share the closeness we once did. She doesn't seem interested in spending time together as a couple anymore." His voice carried a hint of sadness, a vulnerability I hadn't expected. He went on to explain that even though he understood the natural course of things, he sometimes felt a profound sense of loneliness. It became evident that he simply needed someone to listen, someone who wouldn't judge or dismiss his feelings. I nodded quietly, absorbing his words. It wasn't difficult to understand the weight of his emotions. Sometimes, all we truly need is someone to share our thoughts with, someone who understands without condition. As the room settled into silence, Mr. Aid shifted again, this time moving closer to me. His gaze held a certain warmth, and I could see his desire to connect beyond words, beyond explanations. Then, softly, he asked, "Should we be closer? More than just friends?" The question took me by surprise. My initial reaction was instinctual: no. It wasn't something I was comfortable with. Yet, his hopeful expression lingered, persistent and earnest. "Are you sure?" he continued gently. "It could be our little secret." My heart raced, but I firmly replied, "No, I'm not comfortable with that." Mr. Aid seemed momentarily taken aback, but he didn't push further. Instead, He spoke in a quieter voice, his insistence replaced by understanding. "It's okay," he murmured. "I understand." Though I respected his openness, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between us. The intimacy of the moment, combined with his longing, created a tension I wasn't prepared for. Yet, even as he sat back, there was an undeniable truth. People, no matter their age, seek connection, affection, and understanding. And in that moment, I knew that his need for closeness was genuine, driven by a longing for something deeper, something we all crave whether we acknowledge it or not. The room returned to a calm, quiet state, but the memories of our conversation lingered. Mr. Aid lay back beside me, a serene expression on his face. His presence remained comforting, yet there was a subtle shift in the air, a reminder that life is a delicate dance of connections, moments, and understanding. The room was hushed, the atmosphere serene and tranquil. His breathing was slow and steady, each exhale a gentle release of tension. It was evident that he had completely surrendered to the moment, a soft, content smile resting on his lips. His eyes half closed in quiet reflection. I found myself mesmerized by the calm energy enveloping us, as if the world outside had momentarily ceased to exist. Everything seemed to fall into a perfect stillness, as if time itself had slowed down. With each passing minute, I noticed the way he began to drift deeper into a peaceful slumber, the weight of the moment carrying him further into a serene rest. It was as though the intimacy we shared had created a space where all worries dissolved, leaving only a quiet, profound sense of joy lingering in the air. I sat there for a moment, savoring the preciousness of the experience, appreciating the connection we had formed. Slowly, I closed my eyes, feeling a comforting calm wash over me, matching the stillness of the room. As the days unfolded, that moment continued to resonate within me. It felt as if something had shifted between us, a subtle yet undeniable bond that didn't require words. It was unspoken, yet profoundly understood. That night, after he had fallen into a peaceful sleep, I carefully slipped out of bed, making sure not to disturb the quietude that surrounded us. The cool air met me as I dressed, the silence in the room wrapping around me like a cocoon. Part of me didn't want to leave. There was an undeniable tug, a sense that this wasn't just a fleeting encounter, but something far more significant. Deep down, I knew we were meant to meet again. The emotions I felt, peace, longing, and curiosity, were a complex blend, impossible to fully articulate, yet undeniably real. When I stepped outside, I carried these feelings with me, feeling a sense of anticipation for what was to come. Few days later, fate once again brought us together. This time, it wasn't by chance. Through conversations, messages, and shared moments, the distance between us seemed to melt away. Each word exchanged, each small gesture, deepened the connection we were building. Our meetings became more frequent, natural, effortless. It felt as though we had always known each other, as if the bond we were creating had been destined. We would meet at cozy cafes, wander through quiet parks, or simply sit together in comfortable silence. The moments weren't always about doing something extraordinary. They were about sharing time in each other's company, nurturing the growing connection that neither of us could ignore. Slowly, we both began to acknowledge what was unfolding between us. Something more than just a fleeting attraction. It was something real, something worth embracing and exploring. Neither of us was willing to let go. Thank you for taking the time to watch our videos. If you find the content useful and interesting, don't forget to like, share, and especially subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. Our channel will always update attractive, inspiring, and useful content for you. Click the bell icon to receive notifications as soon as there are new videos. Your support is the biggest motivation for us to continue to develop. Thank you and see you in the next videos.